You know that feeling, right? You decide you're going to learn something new, a language, an instrument, anything. You're super excited, and then you see it. The sheer mountain of information you have to climb, and suddenly you're just frozen.
It's like someone dumps a 1,000-piece puzzle on the table, and you have no idea where to even start. You know there's a beautiful picture in there somewhere, but right now it just looks like chaos. Where do you even begin?
But what if someone walked up and just handed you the 4 corner pieces? Well, that's exactly what a title like this does. It cuts right through all that noise and makes a simple, powerful promise. Just start here. You'll be okay. So today, we're going to deconstruct that very promise.
All right, so here's the plan. We'll look at the promise itself, then figure out who this is really for. We'll dig into why daily use is the secret weapon, unpack the psychology behind the number 50, and finally, talk about where you go from there.
So first up, the beginner's promise. You gotta understand, a title like this isn't just selling you a list of sentences. It's selling hope. It's selling a manageable starting line in a race that feels impossibly long.
I mean, we've all heard this quote, right? But it's the entire philosophy here. Learning a whole language is that 1,000-mile journey. But successfully saying, "Hello, how are you?" and getting a friendly reply, that's the first step, and it's everything. It makes the impossible suddenly feel possible.
Okay, so if that's the promise, who's buying it? This gets us to a really important question. What does beginner actually mean here? Because, let's be real, not all beginners are created equal.
The beginner this is aimed at isn't trying to write a novel. Nope, this person needs a quick win. They're desperate for that little spark you feel when you actually communicate something and someone understands. They need that fuel to keep going.
And this slide just nails the distinction. This whole approach is custom-built for the tourist, someone who just needs to survive and connect. Think, where's the bathroom? It is absolutely not for the linguist, who's trying to dissect grammar and achieve perfection. Both are totally valid paths. They just need completely different maps.
So for dealing with the tourist, the practical learner, then it makes perfect sense that the tools have to be practical too. And that brings us to the real engine of this whole method, the laser focus on daily use.
It's all about getting the most bang for your buck. I mean, why would you waste a single brain cell learning the word for xylophone when you still can't confidently order a cup of coffee? This approach is ruthless about focusing on the stuff you'll actually use day in and day out.
And what does that look like in the real world? Well, it's pretty much what you'd expect. Greetings, ordering stuff, asking for help, buying things, saying who you are. You know, the absolute bedrock of any normal human interaction. These are the situations you're guaranteed to hit.
Which leads us to the final and maybe the most genius piece of the puzzle, the number itself. There's a special kind of magic in promising exactly 50 sentences.
50. Just 50. It's not a lot of sentences. It's not some useful phrases. It's a concrete, specific, and honestly, a kind of small number. And why is that so powerful? Because it gives your brain something solid to grab onto.
This is just pure psychology, and it's brilliant. A finite number gives you a clear finish line. You can literally tick them off a list, and who doesn't love that feeling of progress? Most importantly, it takes that scary, abstract mountain of learning a language and turns it into a simple to-do list with 50 items. You can feel the anxiety just drain away.
If you think about it, when you start something new, your overwhelm meter is cranked all the way up. That just tanks your motivation. It makes clarity feel impossible. A goal like learn 50 sentences is a direct assault on that overwhelm. Knock that down and suddenly, motivation and clarity have room to grow. It's a simple but an incredibly effective mental hack.
All right, we get the promise, we know who it's for, and we see how it works. But the million-dollar question is, what happens after sentence number 50? And that brings us to the final crucial part of this whole idea, looking beyond the beginning.
It is so critical to see this for what it is. These 50 sentences are an amazing foundation. They're strong, they're practical, and they get you off the sidelines and into the actual game. But nobody lives on a foundation, right? It's not the finished house. The entire point of this foundation is to give you a platform to build on. These sentences get you talking, so you can have more conversations and learn more words and grow from there.
So at the end of the day, you gotta have a balanced view. The strengths are massive. Quick confidence, practical skills, and way less anxiety. But the weaknesses are just as real. You won't be spontaneous, you won't get the deep grammar, and you can't express complex ideas. It's a trade-off, plain and simple. So this method isn't the house you're supposed to live in forever. It's the key to the front door. It's the tool that finally gets you through that locked door of silence and out into the huge, exciting world where real conversations happen. It's the start, not the end.
Which kind of leaves us with one last thought for you. If you had to start learning something totally new today, a language or anything else, what would your first essential sentence be? What's the one phrase you'd absolutely need to unlock your own journey? It's a pretty interesting thing to think about.